What's up, everybody? Honestly, I ain't really have time. I get to sit down and formally write my Sunday reflection today. So what I'm gonna do is kind of do a more of a video one. So I guess today's reflection is Sunday's reflection. Put others before yourself. As I took my walk with God, I thought about kind of a moment from on Friday actually, in my intervention room. Normally at the end of my interventions, I give my students like a little treat, whether it's like a Starburst or sometimes they get to pick from the jar. So this particular day, I let the students pick from the jar. But it was a cool little moment during that happened. One of my students, they were about to pick from the jar, and she told the other student, she was like, "Hey, you can go first." I was like, "Wow, that's pretty cool." And we're like, most kids at heart sometimes are real selfish. So this child's actually about a year younger than the rest of her class, so she's technically, should be a bit more immature on those type of things. So I thought it was the coolest thing. So I actually rewarded her for that behavior. For putting others first, I gave her some Takis, which is kind of like, I always say, like the cheat code. So I thought it was kind of like the cool thing, but it's also like a lesson of just like, put others before yourself. This is an 8-year-old. They don't always think about putting others before themselves. You're just trying to get them to learn how to share. So I thought it was like the coolest thing. And so, I just thought it was just a really good lesson. But I thought about, reflecting myself as a teacher and my time as a teacher. Like everything I've been able to do is always put my kids first. Whether it's showing up to an award ceremony after a car wreck, or still showing up to school after my car got stolen. My second year had different things going on. My second year, my father had a stroke, my grandma died, but I still was at school. I never missed a day. But I thought about what all my students were going through that year. Honestly, just being real, I was even thinking about leaving my first school after the first year because of some things I didn't like. But I knew I said I wanted my students to get a full Mr. Short, because half of my rookie year, I think I kind of didn't know what I was doing, which is normal, I guess. And some people take longer than that to figure it out. But I felt like I was rocking at the end of the year. I was like, I want them to have this the whole year. Now, that next year, it had some rocky moments and different things like that. But, I put them before myself, and I was able to come back that second year. My third year, had a rough moment kind of toward the end of the year where I was asked to switch late in the year, and I kind of was like, wow, like I really don't want to do this. But those students that I got, they can't really worry about all that. They just need somebody to teach them. So I had to put them before myself. I really didn't want to do it, but at the same time, I had to think about my scholars that I was going to be teaching, and I felt a lot of them made a lot of growth in that short amount of time. Even though it was only 9 weeks, they made a lot of growth. My fourth year, was a lot of things going on outside the classroom, a lot of mistreatment, a lot of things like that going on. But I was able to um, do what I need to do for my student. The thing is, that's probably my most successful year as a teacher. The routines I was able to create, some of the things that, and some of y'all may see some of those things soon, more visible of what's going on in the classroom over the next coming weeks. I just talked to some parents about that, so you'll be able to see some of those things. So I'm just very glad about what I was able to do in the classroom there. But you'll be able to see some of the things. But I put those students before anything that was going on the outside, being stressed out and different things going on. I was able to put my students before what how I was feeling, and just moving forward now that I'm in interventions. Everything I've come up with, every structure, every routine, I have the resource, the Phenomenal Intervention Playbook, which is available on Amazon and most platforms as an ebook. I was able to put those students before myself, and I'm come up with routines. Everything is about them. It's not about me. I'm like, oh, I'm coming up with this cool thing. Most time it's just like, okay, this student struggling with this. I need to come up with something. That's really most time all it is. It's not me trying to like, oh, I want to show how smart I am or anything like that. It's not. I was just trying to come up with something to help my kids, and that's really all it's about. So I just want. So just moving forward, like I understand like the mission that God put me on. So, like you serve others, you're not serving yourself. Serving myself, I could have just went and became a writer. I was like, oh, Mr. Short or Jeremiah Short, naming the likes. But now as a teacher, God's blessing me and giving me opportunities. Really, everything is about trying to help others and try to help the profession and help it move forward. And so I just kind of think about what this African gentleman told me when I was in college. He said a person that's in tune with themselves, like, is only worried about themselves, obviously. Um, I mean, that not in tune with themselves is only worried about themselves. But if you're in tune with the world, you truly know yourself, and you will put others before yourself. So, that was a wise gentleman. So I just tell y'all, like, man, just really think about that, just reflecting, just really put others before yourself. And as ET says, like, man, you get somebody else a car seat once you get one. And I want people really to think about that and what that really means. So put others before yourself. I just leave with this one thing. Ask you this question: do you put others before yourself? And a challenge: go and do something this week to really help somebody else out and really try to help them grow and be who they need to be. All right, just God bless. Jeremiah, peace out.